You are going to die. Not as a dramatic statement. As a fact. At some point, this specific version of your life, with these specific people, these specific opportunities, this specific body, will end. Most men know this intellectually. Very few of them live as if they actually believe it. Because believing it, truly believing it in a way that changes behavior and not just produces a momentary shudder, requires sitting with the fact long enough for it to become real. And sitting with it is uncomfortable. So most men do not. They keep it at the edge of awareness, acknowledged but not examined, known but never confronted. And the cost of that avoidance, the Stoics understood, is a life lived at half the intensity it deserved. The Stoics had a practice they returned to daily. They called it memento mori. Remember that you will die. Not as a morbid ritual. As a clarifying one. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what is left and live it properly." That line is not pessimistic. It is liberating. Because the man who has genuinely accepted that his time is limited stops spending it on things that only matter if time is unlimited. He stops tolerating relationships that drain him, telling himself he will address it eventually. He stops deferring the work that matters, telling himself there will be time later. He stops performing a version of himself for an audience, because the audience will not be there at the end anyway. The acceptance of death is not the beginning of despair. It is the beginning of genuine priority. There is a specific kind of clarity that only mortality can produce. It is the clarity of what actually matters when everything that does not is removed. Think about the moments in your life when the ending felt close. A diagnosis. An accident. A loss that reminded you that the people you love are not permanent fixtures. In those moments, something shifts. The things that consumed enormous energy the day before, the small grievances, the status competitions, the performance of a self that was never quite real, they fall away immediately. And what remains is simpler. The people. The work. The quality of the hours. Whether you were present for the life you were actually living, or whether you were elsewhere, managing some projected version of it. The Stoics did not wait for crisis to produce this clarity. They cultivated it deliberately. Every morning, some of them would sit with the awareness that this day might be the last one. Not to live in fear of that possibility, but to live with the sharpness that comes from knowing it is real. Seneca wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we had come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. Balance the books each day. Not at the end of the year. Not eventually. Each day. As if the account might close tonight." The avoidance of death thinking is not neutral. It has a specific cost that most men pay without realizing it. When mortality is kept at the edge of awareness rather than brought to the center, a man unconsciously behaves as if time is unlimited. He tolerates the wrong things too long. He invests in the unimportant too freely. He defers the important too comfortably. Because somewhere beneath consciousness, the belief persists that there is always more time. That the important conversation can happen next year. That the relationship that needs attention can wait until things settle. That the version of himself he actually wants to be is something he will work toward eventually. And eventually becomes the most expensive word in a human life. Because it is paid for with time that could not be recovered. The Stoic practice of confronting death is not about producing urgency for its own sake. It is about closing the gap between how a man would live if he knew his time was short, and how he actually lives right now. Because the time is short. It always was. The only question is how long it takes a man to act like it. The practice is not complicated. Once a day, ideally in the morning before the noise begins, sit with one question. If this were the last year of my life, what would I stop doing immediately? What would I start? What would I say that has remained unsaid? Who would I spend more time with, and who would I quietly remove from the center of my attention? Do not answer theoretically. Answer specifically. Name the thing you would stop. Name the person you would call. Name the work you would begin without waiting for permission or perfect conditions. Then ask the harder question, what is stopping me from doing that now? Almost always, the answer is some version of the belief that time is available. That the moment is not quite right. That there will be a better opportunity. The Stoics would simply point out that this belief has no foundation. The moment is always now. The opportunity is always this one. And the man who waits for a better one will spend his life waiting. The Stoics were not afraid of death. Not because they were indifferent to life. Because they had squeezed every drop of meaning from it that their discipline allowed. They had said what needed saying. Done what needed doing. Been present for the people and the work that deserved their full presence. And so when the ending came, it arrived to a man who had already lived. Not perfectly. Not without regret. But consciously. Deliberately. With the awareness that time was the only currency that mattered, and that it had been spent on things genuinely worth the price. That is available to you. Not after you have figured everything out. Not once the conditions are better. Now. With this life. In these circumstances. Beginning with one honest answer to one honest question. If not now, when? Walk the path. Remain steady.